What is happening, everybody? In today's video, I have a really important lesson for you guys on, when to call it quits on a setup, when to give up, when to throw in the towel. And I kind of had this idea to make this video lesson yesterday, on Friday being the end of the last week's market close in the middle of October. And I got the idea because I have had to have the realization that I have to give up on a setup that I've been trying to learn. I thought I could be profitable. I thought I can get better at it and ultimately add it to my trading system, and I can't. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to go over how I came to that realization and why I'm ultimately, calling it quits on this particular trading setup. So before I get into it, I want to specifically go over the backstory of how I got to this point of trying to learn this new setup. So for those of you who know my story, I started with a 6K E-Trade account, and I quickly dwindled that down to $70 or $1,700. And so and then once I became profitable, I slowly grew that account back to $5,000. Now at the time, I had $20,000 in Interactive Brokers and $5,000 in E-Trade. So of course, to get over PDT, $25,000, I transferred that 5K in E-Trade over to Interactive Brokers. My E-Trade account then became a thing of the past. I hadn't touched it, I hadn't opened it. It was no longer an account I used for well over 2 years. And then I kind of grew my accounts in IB. I made much more money. I got much more capital to play with. And so I realized, why don't I put $5,000 back into E-Trade, and why don't I try to repeat my process? Why don't I try to, take some of these long setups with E-Trade and try to actually grow this account, start where I left off and grow this account from 5K back to over PDT and see if I can redo my feet kind of thing. And so the setup I wanted to learn and that I was kind of learning back when I had the E-Trade account was lower priced breakouts. So, typically under a penny, 10, 20, 30 cent breakouts. And the reason why I can't necessarily do those or play those plays at Interactive Brokers because their commission structure is you're paying per share. So if I buy 50,000 shares of a 5-cent stock, I'm paying way too many commissions at Interactive Brokers. Whereas in E-Trade, they just turned their commissions to being free, but for OTCs, they are still, I think, $5 to $7. So I much rather pay that than trying to pay, 50 or 60 bucks to try to buy Interactive Brokers. Clearly it's no brainer. So 2 weeks ago, I moved 5K into E-Trade, and I started, trying to track and trade these lower price breakouts. And it was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. So let's get right into the stats because I took some down for you guys. Let's see this. Yeah, perfect. So in 2 weeks, I took 6 trades and a total P&L of negative $1,200. My win rate was 16%, so that literally means out of those 6 trades, I won once. I made one profit, which was a total of $67.30. The total average loss was $250. Average gain was barely under 2%, and average loss was close to 9%. Now, normally, if you were to put yourself in my shoes, understand that 6 trades is not a good enough sample size to really tell if you're really that good. I should technically be giving this much more time and much more samples of breakouts to go from. But the whole reason why I got this idea to make this video was because this isn't, and this is what actually reminded me about breakouts, trying to trade them, is that this isn't the first time I've tried trading this setup. The whole reason why my E-Trade account went from 6K down to 1,700 was because breakouts were a setup I tried learning when I very first started trading. And I completely kind of forgot about this. And so I actually went back and I looked at other trades that I had taken on this exact setup. And so I did the same thing. I kind of pulled the stats together. And so back about 2 to 2.5 years ago, I took 22 trades. Now the P&L was negative $500 because I was trading much smaller size than I am now. Win rate was still pretty bad. It was 36%. Average gain was 21 bucks. Average loss was almost well over double at $48. And the win percentages were about the same. Only a percent higher in average win. Ultimately that doesn't matter. The point is I was still a losing trader at negative $500. And so what hit me was all the stresses and the frustrations and the agony of being this low win rate and unprofitable trader back when I first started, came back. I brought up this old scar tissue the last 2 weeks, and I couldn't figure out why. I remember being just incredibly frustrated the last 2 weeks in October. ever since I had tried to start longing these breakouts. And I didn't really blame them. I thought, I'll get better, I'll learn it. And then I made this realization, like, crap, no, I've tried to do this setup before, and it's brought so many just stressful and like negative self-talk, thoughts and all these things. And so ultimately I realized, like, even though breakouts are great, some traders, and I know quite a few traders who just kill it going long these breakouts, they make a lot of money, but I have to be real and humble with myself and realize they're not for me. Like, they're just not for me. Like, my personality, my strategy that actually makes me money, all of it just does not fit the profile of what a breakout and a good breakout trader is. So it just isn't something that is for me at all. And I think, and I thought, after 2.5 years of being profitable, like better risk management, better patience, better understanding how some of these stocks move, that I could, relearn this setup and grow my E-Trade account back from where it started. But the reality is I can't. And that's just such a huge realization for me, that in even two completely different markets, right? Like these 22 trades I took were back in like 2017, and for these 6 trades, this was 2019, the last 2 weeks in October. So the massive difference and totally different markets, but still I am coming out with the same stats, is that the breakouts are the problem. I'm the problem. Like, but at the same time, I've tried so many different ways and thought about how I could play them better. But again, my personality is just not good for these. Like, they don't mix. Like, we don't go together. And so for a newer trader, or someone's just starting, like, if you're listening, is that, it's a tough pill to swallow. I've seen it so many times. New traders want to, they want to be the best trader and the biggest, baddest trader in this community, right? They want to be able to trade everything, and that's great. Like, that's awesome that they're motivated and they're inspired to try to be the best in this community. But at the same time, you have to recognize who you are, and you got to be able to swallow that pill of, like, you know what, I can't trade this, and that sucks. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to tell you that I can't trade a breakout, because I can't. The lower, there are some breakouts that I do well, like Fannie Mae last month. But again, you gotta remember, those breakouts are like the best of the best. Like, anyone who trades that breakout and holds to their plan can make money on those breakouts. Some of these breakouts that I've been trying to learn, like, it takes a very skilled trader to want to learn how to trade those things and trade them well. So for the most part, 99% of breakouts are not for me. And so I'd want to tell you that I can trade them and I can be better and I can add them to my trading setup, and I can just all of a sudden be this amazing trader that can go just as good long as he can short. And I can't. I'm swallowing the pill. I'm swallowing my pride, my ego, and I'm just telling you I can't trade them. So I'm probably gonna wire my money, at least what's left of it. Luckily, most of it's left. Only $1,200 down. I'm going to transfer that money back into Interactive Brokers, and I'm going to continue trading the setup and the systems that I know well and make money. It was worth a shot, but like I just briefly talked about the stats, it's very clear to me I can't do it. So hopefully that's you can reflect that upon you. Give it a shot without any new setup you test. But ultimately, you got to be real with yourself and look at the numbers and realize, can you actually trade them? Can you actually be profitable with them? And if you can't, it's totally fine, right? You're not going to not be a good trader in another area or another setup just because you can't trade one. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know what was the biggest takeaway about it. I think I know, made it very clear how awful I am at them. And so hopefully you guys liked it. See you next time. Peace out.